how wonderfully you controlled the end, and how you waited, and what you did with your hands. Because a lot of people finish the piece and put their hands down quickly, and ruins the whole ending. It was really magical what you did. And actually, my major suggestion is the first page. I'm going to play a little bit. Now, before we start, when was this piece composed? And what great event had happened that inspired Debussy to write this?
So there was the World's Fair in Paris.
Exactly.
In 1899.
That's exactly right, turn of the century.
Yep.
And what happened at the World's Fair?
So there were like these gamelan orchestras.
Yes, gamelan. You should talk more to the audience so they can hear you. This is what I was talking about when I said just an hour ago how important it is to know the history of every piece. And you're very well informed. Bravo. So Debussy heard the gamelan, and how do you think that inspired him when he wrote Pagode?
So like in trying to show different kinds of instrumentation.
Right.
This is like it tries to show scales, kind of like the lower notes, or in some places the upper notes are recorded.
And I also think in bed, I used to take that with 2 or 3 fingers and wait it, because that's a gong. And so, you know, that really needs more time, especially the second time. But I just want to start the opening. First of all, it's pianissimo. You play piano, not really pianissimo. So, I mean, this piece is one of the greatest challenges in terms of dynamic range, and especially playing softly, right? All right. Sonic imagination.
What kind of imagination?
Sonic, S-O-N-I-C, imagination of sound. And the thing about this is, it swims. It's very impressionistic. It could be like looking at a Monet painting where he has dense fog, and you see the cathedral through the fog, but it's very foggy. But you have to have different colors each time the theme comes. And so I think that was very important, because you started great, it could have been softer. But somehow, each time, there's a different inflection. I mean, you have this, then you have the A, that's a different color. And then this voice. Yeah. So just try to vary each statement of the theme. And look, in a pagoda, there are many layers of roof, right? And it's like a temple. But maybe each layer has different decorations on it. That's how I used to think of it. I mean, sometimes when they paint, hand paint, they might have different figures. There might be dragons on one layer, and maybe lotus flowers on another layer. And so each time that the theme comes back, find a slightly different color. So much better. I mean, already the whole opening, you created such a wonderful mood. But, I mean, again, it's not like you have to play this metronomically. So I'm wondering, does this have to be in tempo, the second? but it shouldn't sound like you're playing in time. I mean, just enjoy the sound. Bask in the sound. And I just always took a little bit of time, because otherwise, to me, it feels very strict. I mean, if you do, I mean, clearly the first two measures are a very brief introduction. That then now we have the theme that comes in, so you can just taper a tiny bit. Let's try that again. Don't necessarily rush the 16ths. I meant these, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's not, we're not in a hurry. We don't have to rush to the airport or catch a train. And it's the first one, right? So just give yourself. Yeah. And the second one, I think I brought out a little more bass. And then that goes to the tenor voice. So I'm always trying to do something different. Okay, one more time. Not too much. One note. See, now here, I think the pedal is going to have to, it sounds a little over-pedaled to me. I know you have to hold this in the so you change there, right? Change a little. Because what happens is, it's just too much pedal. And so, I mean, it's impossible here to use the middle pedal. But for me, the clarity of this voice is more important than having it muddied by holding the pedal. So I mean, we have enough of the pedal point. We have it so many times that I don't mind. Here, I change it slightly. You still have the residue. And again, and only here is the first clarity. And that's also where I start to do a little bit of anime. I know it comes later, but it naturally wants to move forward. So I just think here you might want to experiment with the pedaling a little bit more. Because holding the pedal for two measures, it's very hard to hear that melody. And that's important. Right? Well, you should change there for sure. I mean, at least give yourself some breathing room with the pedal. That's a perfectly good place to change. Right here. So, and then you can start again. Yeah, that's important. See, it should be louder.
It's louder. The way.
Well, it just suddenly sounds jarring if it's louder.
Okay.
I mean, the whole mood is in a pianissimo mood. And yes, I mean, we can find different colors, but the purpose, it's almost like an etude. Show me how softly you can play. Because it's much harder to play really softly than to play loud. And this is the challenge. You know, if you did... imagination go. And you can have little bells ringing, but I think the beauty of the whole first page is not only establishing the different layers, the different rooftops of the pagoda, but as I said, just different colorations of it. And just as Monet did in his late paintings, sometimes the way the light hits it. You know, when you look at Monet paintings of the lilies in the pond, sometimes the sunlight is very prominent on one lily, and you see the light illuminated on that. But some of the other ones are darker. He does this all the time. I mean, you should really go to the museum closest to you, and if you can't go to the museum, look online. And just look at impressionistic paintings, but mostly for Debussy of Monet, Claude Monet. And even Monet had many differences in his career. His early paintings are very traditional. They're not so highly impressionistic. But later, they became more and more so, and then the late ones, sometimes you can't even figure out what the image is. I mean, it's just that he had an incredible mind, and an incredible creative mind. And I think Debussy has that kind of creative sound. So it's really important. Okay, time is going, so let's move ahead now. Maybe we can go from here. Chromaticism, so that I mean, the harmonies are so amazing. The A, now. Take your time, because that's a crescendo, I think, to a subito. But it's equivalent of poco a poco, getting faster. So it shouldn't sound like a tempo change that right away. It start easier way into it. And again, maybe the second one could be less. So let's just do this whole section again. There's a piano. I think it's almost Beethovenian, the way Beethoven often writes crescendos to a subito piano. I think it should rise a little more. This should really drop, and because of the, acoustic change, there should be maybe a little bit of time. Just those two measures. the melody. I mean, there's a rest there, but when you play, then obviously, again, 2 layers, because you have the gong in the bass notes, and then you have, I don't know, I think wind instruments maybe playing clarinet, bassoon. I mean, you can also try to orchestrate and think about what instruments you would use there.
Where from?
The anime. So I have to hear the F sharp. This. I lose the F sharp. Okay. And that's why it's also good to start a little under tempo there, so we can hear them, and then move forward. Go ahead. The F sharp, the F sharp. It's not an accompaniment. Yes. Yeah. And then not only is it here, it's here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a canon. And so let's say if this is the clarinet, the flute answers, and they're equal. I mean, it's subtle. You can't make a big deal out of it, but I have to hear it. And that also means sometimes the eighths in the right hand rush a little bit.
Oh, okay.
These, you're influenced by the triplets. It should be very even, and it's a conversation between the left-hand one. I mean, it's as much a canon as you could ever get. Let's do it one more time. Yes, don't rush here. Yes, it should be exactly the same as the left-hand one. Right. Yes. So again, I mean, here in this music, you have to relish the sound. The sound is just everything. Let's just try the gong part again. Now clear the pedal. Yes. Right. Don't come up too much. There's no crescendo. Okay, great. Now I want to skip ahead again. One thing I want you to do the transition back into tempo 1. So can you go from this to this? See, I don't feel that tempo 1 comes back until you play the beat. Okay. So if you're here, don't do this. It's too abrupt. So just hey. Now. Something like that. Okay? No, you just try that. We have to stop. And you can experiment. You can play around. Show me just 1 minute. How do you play this? Flat fingers. Yeah. The flatter the better. Yeah. It's one time when people tell you to play with rounded fingers, you can't take that advice. Right. That was great.